I want to share with you tonight is, let me got sound, is this wanted fugitive from Massachusetts, from New Hampshire. No, from Massachusetts. Okay. District of New Hampshire, fugitive of the week for June 15th, 2022 is John Patrick Barber. The U.S. Marshals New Hampshire Joint Fugitive Task Force is actively attempting to locate and arrest Manchester Police Department fugitive John Patrick Barber. Barber is wanted for a sex offender registration violation, duty to report. So he failed to uh, check in and make sure they knew where he was living and all that good stuff. Barber is required to register as a sex offender due to a 2013 conviction for felonious sexual assault on a child older than 13 years of age and younger than 16 years of age, with a difference of greater than 4 years. So that would have been 9 years ago, which means when I see the poster and I see how old he is, we'll see how old he was at the time. I want to say he was about 18, maybe 19. Barber was last known to reside in Manchester, New Hampshire, but his current whereabouts are unknown. If you see someone who resembles Barber, please contact U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force at 603-225-1632 or your local police department. Call 911. This dude is dangerous. From what I've heard, it's a very lengthy criminal history. We're going to take a look at some more information from the U.S. Marshals about him. This is his wanted poster. John Patrick Barber, sex offender registration violation. He is an unregistered sex offender. His face looks really familiar to me. It seems like I've seen him in some news article for something else, and I keep staring at him, but if I have, it won't come to me. Hold on a second. I got to get some stuff disconnected here. There we go. He has no known aliases. He is a white male. Date of birth is 10/15/91. He's 30 years old now. So yeah, he would have been like 2021 at the time that he committed that sexual offense against a minor older than 13 but younger than 16. He is 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighs 150 to 200 pounds. Also, he was born in New Hampshire. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. His scars, marks, and tattoos on his right forearm, he has a Bruins tattoo. So that's a sports team. On his left forearm, there's a heart. And on the wrist, there is the name Aiden, spelled with an A, Aidan. The associated numbers with him are listed here for FBI, FID, NIC. The warrant was issued by the Manchester Police as of 5/26/22. So he has been on the run since May, getting close to a month now that he's been on the run, about 10 days shy of a month. And again, it lists the violation as a sexual offender violation of his duty to inform. The U.S. Marshals, New Hampshire Joint Fugitive Task Force is actively attempting to locate and arrest Manchester Police Department fugitive John Patrick Barber. Excuse me. Barber is wanted for a sex offender registration violation, duty to report. Barber is required to register as a sex offender due to a 2013 conviction for felonious sexual assault on a child older than 13 but younger than 16 years of age, with an age difference of greater than 4 years. Barber was last known to reside in Manchester, New Hampshire, but his current whereabouts are unknown. I know that is repeated information, but I really want to get this to stick in people's minds. If you see someone who remembers Barber, please contact the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force or your local police. The warning is do not attempt to apprehend this person yourself. Report any information to the nearest USMS district office at 603-225-1632 or call 187 wanted 2 or submit a web tip or text NHTIP with any information to tip 411. Local contact is Deputy U.S. Marshal Grillo or Grillo, and his number is 603-225-1632. Again, this is John Patrick Barber. He's wanted on an outstanding warrant for violating his duty to register as a sexual offender on a charge of feloniously sexually assaulting a minor under the age of 16 but older than 13 with a 4-year age difference. Please note the tattoos and the kind of non-standard spelling of Aiden on his left wrist. I did want to bring some Amber Alert updates. All the Amber Alerts that I have covered, excuse me, all the Amber Alerts that I covered yesterday, Alexis Byrne, Kiana Braxton, they were all found safe and they are at home. Alexis Byrne, I'm trying to get some more information on that because they said that she was abducted, but they never released any real details about what her abduction, like how it happened or who they thought did it or anything like that. So she was gone like 2 or 3 days. And so I'm trying to find some more information on what that turned up. Is there a suspect in custody? Was anyone charged? Do they have a suspect at all? Was it an abduction? From all I've heard, because I spoke to at least one of her friends, and from everything I heard, she's a real sweet girl. So to me, it doesn't sound like from that conversation that this would be a runaway situation. So it's possible that the abduction is an actual thing. The next thing I want to share with you is we have just here recently had a shooting at a church in Alabama outside Birmingham. And CNN has an article that says, they have an article that says, quit yawning every time you go live, Savage. That's what the article says. It says 2 people killed during a shooting at a church near Birmingham, Alabama. 2 people were killed Thursday in a shooting at a small group church meeting in a suburb of Birmingham, Alabama. A suspect who was not identified is in custody, according to Captain Shane Ware with the Vestavia Hills Police Department. The shooting was reported at St. Stephen's Episcopal Church at about 6:22 p.m. That's 7:22 Eastern. Ware said one person was being treated for an unknown injury at a hospital. And as you can see, it's just outside of Birmingham, not too far at all. According to the church calendar, an event called the Boom Potluck was scheduled at the same time that the shooting took place, but it wasn't clear from the media briefing whether the violence occurred there. Ware didn't take questions at any of the 3 media briefings on the shooting. If anyone needs to pass along any information concerning this investigation to the Vestavia Hills Police Department and our detectives, I need them to call 205-978-0140, he said. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey sent her condolences. I'm glad to hear the shooter is in custody, Ivey said. This should never happen in a church, in a store, in the city, or anywhere. We continue to closely monitor the situation. So I will be bringing updates about that tomorrow during the daytime. And we're going to get into tonight is the case of Felicia Johnson. Oh, something just bit me. First, I do want to share quick. Well, no, I'll just link it in the description. This case is, wow. When I got to reading about it, I was just like, man. And you're going to see why I'm kind of speechless as we go through these articles and videos. Authorities send warning for thousands after Felicia Johnson is murdered and dismembered. Let's see if we can get this video to play.
Well, she hasn't been seen since.
Charged with murdering and dismembering a woman. This is after taking her to his West Houston apartment. 26's Dominique Keith joining us live with a warning for thousands of Houstonians. Dominique.
Yeah, according to court records, Felicia Johnson and the man now charged with her murder, they agreed to meet up on Snapchat, and he was supposed to pay her $500. That's according to court records. Well, she hasn't been seen since, and tonight there is a warning for the thousands of Houstonians who work in the sex industry.
Anybody can become a victim of a villain.
That's the first point Precinct 1 Human Trafficking Victim Services Director Kathryn Griffin wants to drive home. Let the murder of 24-year-old Felicia Johnson be a learning lesson, and don't think it can't happen to you.
It is so dangerous, and every media outlet should be screaming from the rooftops on how dangerous this is, and let stories like this be known.
Chukwuebuka Nwobodo is now charged with murdering and dismembering Felicia Johnson after investigators say her blood was found in his apartment. Court documents show she was last seen April 16th leaving her hotel in an Uber paid for by Nwobodo. On April 17th, investigators held and a power saw, towels, and trash bags. And according to court records, even as Nwobodo searched the internet for things like, can bleach destroy the forested part of Houston, he also Googled Houston escorts. And there are tens of thousands here.
I would estimate and say anywhere 1,000 sex industry workers daily.
That's a lot. Just Houston, Harris County.
Yes.
Griffin wants sex workers to do a few things to stay safe, such as don't meet at a client's home, but most of all wants you to know help getting out of this industry is available.
It's very vitally important that individuals know to reach out to us so that we can help.
Well, Precinct 1 can help with everything from treatment to therapy to housing and finding a job. We have contact information for them on our website. Felicia Johnson's body, by the way, still hasn't been found, and her accused killer is still on the run. Reporting live near downtown Houston, Emily Keith, Fox 26 News.
And so I'm not going to read this article because what was said in the video is indeed what is in the article. But I am going to come down here. Because there was a key piece I wanted to share with you. Well, a few key pieces. Nwobodo is now charged with murdering and dismembering Johnson after investigators say her blood was found in his apartment. When he was detained for questioning on May 13th, detectives say they found a gun, gloves, a large kitchen knife, and a shovel in the trunk and back seat of his car. He was questioned that day and released. He wasn't charged until June 9th, but now he's nowhere to be found. Of course not. If I did what he did and they called me in and let me go, I would get in the wind too. On April 17th, investigators say Nwobodo bought a handheld and a power saw, towels, and trash bags. According to court records, even as Nwobodo searched the internet for things like can bleach destroy DNA, how to get away with murder, how to be a serial killer, and the most forested part of Houston. He also Googled Houston escorts, and there are tens of thousands here. Here was the kicker for me. It says investigators also say they found pictures of a dismembered woman and 3 dead bodies on Nwobodo's phone. 3 dead bodies. Pictures on his phone. Unless they worded that wrong, what I'm taking from that is that there were 3 pictures of 3 different dead bodies on his phone and a picture of a dismembered woman. So 3, possibly 4 separate murders that he's committed. This dude is dangerous. Like, he Googled how to be a serial killer, and I guess he just immediately started going to work on whatever he found, because if he has 3 bodies, he is technically a serial killer, depending on some other little details. And this one is pretty much the same. I'm not going to share that one. I thought I had another article pulled up here that has some different stuff in it. I'm just double checking here. And one thing he did was he didn't have her to come to where he actually lived. He sent the Uber to an old address, and he picked her up at that apartment complex and took her back to his apartment complex. So right there, he was trying to avoid being traced by technology and GPS and all that kind of stuff. And I guarantee you they're going to find out that he didn't have his phone with him when he picked her up. And she probably didn't think anything of it, because he probably told her something like, oh, I just forgot it when I ran out of the house. And it's crazy because I'm thinking that if she had been doing what she was doing for a while, then she would have been suspicious at being given one address but then taken to another. I would think that she would have. But then again, he probably gave her a line like, oh, Uber just has my old address in there and it just I forgot to update it. And and I'm just trying to think like he would think, and like what would he do? But cases like this, it just gets to me, because it makes me think of all the other victims out there that are denied the dignity of having a proper burial. We've got Ariel Sellers, we've got Harmony Montgomery, we've got so many, possibly Summer Wells, who either are known or suspected to no longer be with us, and yet whoever it was that did something to them won't even say, well, here's the body so that the people who loved them can have that final, let me lay my family member, my friend to rest. I'm not going to dig too deep into this one tonight because I'm just going to be honest. I got a ton of stuff that I have to do. I have to get ready for tomorrow's uh, live, and that's going to entail a whole lot of research. So I'm pulling an all-nighter. I did just want to bring you that stuff really quick, and I wanted you to get to looking at and thinking about this case of Felicia Johnson. I am going to come back to this and keep track of it because I want to know what this guy has to say. Like I want to hear more. And I want to know if he ever at least allows them to find her body so that her family can have some measure of peace. I'm going to get out of here for tonight, and I will see you guys tomorrow. I believe at, let me check. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. we are going back to Bakersfield yet again. If y'all recall, I did find that list of like 30 something missing teens, all first time missing. Hey, Sherry, all first time missing, all within like more or less a certain age range, a certain like height demographic. Most of them, the females, fairly petite, both stature wise and weight wise. And it's weird because on all those cases, you never hear anything else. There's no follow-up story. They're found, I think out of the 13 or 14 that I originally found, only like 3 of those were ever reported as being found safe. The others you just never heard anything about. And they all only seem to have one picture. And in most cases, it's not a picture that you can really see their face in. So tomorrow at 8, that don't sound right. Let me double check that. Let me look again. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. I didn't think that sounded right. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. we're going to go back to Bakersfield and look at that some more. I'm doing some research. I am going to really try to get someone on the phone. Usually when I call, Chewbacca. Yeah, his name is a mouthful, boy, I tell you. I kept practicing and practicing and practicing and hoping I wouldn't have to say his first name too many times. But yeah, I'm going to check that out. I haven't figured out how to share community posts like to other places. I don't know if that's a thing where I have to have a community wall to share it to my community wall. Hey, Sleuth, maybe you can answer that question. But I was wondering about sharing from community walls. Like when I see you guys posting wanted flyers and stuff like that, before you got your community wall, were you able to share other people's community wall posts like to Facebook or Twitter or something like that? Or did you have to wait until you actually got your community wall to be able to share other people's posts? Because I keep hearing people say, oh, you can download the poster and make sure you share it here and share it there. Okay. All right. So it's not just me. It's not just a blonde day and I couldn't figure it out. I'm not far off from that 500. I just seem to be stuck right between 435 and 440-ish, but it's gonna come up. It's gonna come up. It's on an uptick now. I lost about 6 subs, and then people started coming back, or new people came. I'm not sure which it is. But yeah, Mr. Chukwuebuka Nwobodo, aka Chewbacca. I like that better. It's easier to say. Is on the run after having murdered and dismembered at least one woman and having pictures of 3 other dead bodies on his phone. So apparently he found some how to be a serial killer information that got him set on the road to whatever it was he was trying to do or become. I think while I'm here, I am going to go ahead and share one crime surfing story tonight, just to make the live right at 30 minutes. That's not it. And I don't want to share a gun story, and that seems to be all that they have is shooting stories. So I'm going to share this one. It's the first one that I've come across that does not involve, his search history, man. Like, oh my God. Who actually Googles stuff like that? Like, if you're going to go to the effort of having Uber drop her off somewhere else to avoid a connection or try to distance yourself from it, why would you search something like that on your computer? Like, come on, man. Make it make sense. That needs to be my next hashtag. Make it make sense. Okay, so here we go. Let me put this up. Teacher accused of sexually abusing student after husband allegedly finds texts professing love. I thought we were got out of this whole cycle of hearing stories like this, because for a while this was a whole thing where female teachers were abusing or having quote unquote relationships with students. So I haven't actually heard a story like this in a minute. And so I kind of thought that maybe we were out of that whole cycle of foolishness, but I guess somebody didn't get the memo. Apparently, Rebecca Kilps didn't get the memo because she allegedly told police she was planning to leave her husband for the teen after his impending graduation. I hope that she's sitting in her cell right now, tormented with the whole, I was so close, running through her mind because he was almost legal. I hope I hope her stupidity just tortures her for however long she's locked up. And I hope she's locked up for a long time. Says a 34-year-old former teacher in Wisconsin has been arrested on allegations she sexually abused a student after her suspicious husband allegedly uncovered illicit text messages she had sent to the teen. Rebecca Kilps, a former Spanish teacher at Two Rivers High School who resigned from her position, appeared in court on Monday but did not enter pleas to charges she faces. I wonder if she resigned before or after she got caught. Did she resign in preparation for running away with this kid? Like how Vicky White turned in her sold all her stuff and turned in her retirement papers leading up to running away with this fugitive that she helped escape. So did she resign before or after getting busted? People confirms the Two Rivers Police Department that Kelps was arrested back on May 24th and charged with 3 felony counts of sexual assault of a student by school staff. According to a police statement, the investigation into Kelps began on May 23rd when a detective was contacted by a tipster and told that a 34-year-old high school teacher engaged in sexual contact with a 17-year-old student. A criminal complaint obtained by WBAY alleges Kilp's husband called the police the very next day, fearing his wife was having an affair. The husband sifted through text messages on her phone while she slept. When confronted with the text, why do people who do dirt keep evidence against themselves? When confronted with the text in which she allegedly spoke of a future with the recipient and told him she loved him, Kilps allegedly admitted to her husband the messages had been sent to a student. WBAY reports the teen boy admitted to police he and Kelps first met his freshman year and that they had had sex twice in her home, according to the complaint. Kelps met with detectives and allegedly admitted she developed romantic feelings for the teen last October. Kelps allegedly told police she was planning to leave her husband for the teen after his impending graduation. People's attempt to reach Kilps and her attorney by phone were unsuccessful Tuesday. Kilps is due back in court July 22nd, at which point a judge will determine if there is sufficient evidence against her for the case to proceed to trial. Anyone with information on the case is asked to contact Detective Lieutenant Melissa Weisner at 920-793-1191. Oh my God. Like, firstly, it's not like she's tech savvy enough to hide that type of evidence from police. But if you're doing dirt that you know is dirt, and you know that your spouse can get into your phone anytime they want to, why would you keep that? I mean, it's bad enough that you're cheating on your spouse, but you're not only cheating on your spouse, you're cheating on your spouse with a kid, and in the process you're committing all kinds of felony violations, all kind of moral violations and everything else. But it's so important to you to keep these I love yous from this child that you're abusing that you just leave it there for him to find. Like, what did she think he was gonna do? Just be like, okay, go ahead, rob the cradle, I'm cool with it. Don't take me for too much in the divorce. People are stupid. This is a vile creature. And sometimes I'm glad, like, when these stories come out about the female teachers, because I think that most people, when we think of a predator and someone sexually abusing children, the first thing that comes to mind is like this image of some hunchback, hairy, creepy dude, or you know what I'm saying, or other things, whatever your monster is when it comes to that. But most people don't think of, the pretty teacher, or the chick next door that has 5 kids of her own. But they do it. Female sexual abusers are not, and they're not really a rare event, but it's kind of like the reverse of, men not wanting to report rape because of stigmatism, and just the way society is and the way society thinks. And so a lot of times women aren't reported for the same reason when they abuse, because I mean, you even hear the jokes like in sitcoms and just in different conversations where people are joking about, I wish my dudes will be like, I wish my teacher had been as hot as her, or I wish my teacher had a so-and-so when I was in high school. You know what I'm saying? So we look at it differently when it's a female abuser or when it's a male child that's being abused, especially of a certain age, especially when the victim is like a teenager or a man or even a grown man. And they're the victim of abuse or rape or assault. We think of it a little bit differently than we do when the victim is a female. It's crazy. I don't know. It says, I used to be cool to sleep. It used to be cool to sleep with your teacher. Yeah, right. If your guy was supposed to be cool, but it's still just as trauma. You guys are on the same wavelength. It's still just as traumatizing for the victim. I mean, it's still screwing up their whole perception of what relationships are and what they should be. I mean, because of my own experiences in life, I know that I face some difficulties, a lot of which I've overcome, but I face some difficulties in my relationships on different levels, whether it's whatever type of interpersonal relationship it is, whether it's with a friend or with a lover or with a family member. I faced a lot of difficulties just because of things that have happened to me. And so I can imagine if you're being abused that type of way, it kind of messes with your thought process. It messes with your perception of a lot of things, including boundaries. These kids, I'm sorry guys, my throat is so dry. I've been sitting here sipping Kool-Aid and sucking on candy and all kind of stuff, I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if it's the weather. It's been like really humid and then it's raining tonight. So I don't know what it is. But yeah, it messes with your perception of just different things, and how you interact with the world around you and the people around you. So I don't know. I pray for any kid that's in that situation. I pray for kids that have been in that situation. I pray for the adults that have been in that situation, because it's not easy to deal with. And even though now that young man thinks that he was in love and it was okay and whatever, that's going to affect the way he sees boundaries with a lot of things, including people of authority, or, you know what I'm saying, different types of relationships where it's inappropriate to interact with each other a certain way, not necessarily only sexually, but I mean, take for instance your relationship with coworkers. You can joke around and kid around with your coworkers, but there's like boundaries, there's limits to what you can and can't say, or how you should act, or, you know what I'm saying? You don't go to work and spill all your intimate life details with your coworkers. You might tell a little something or joke about something or whatever. And so when you mess with people's boundaries like that, you can affect them for life. Anyway, let me shut up. Sleuth Mom, I did enjoy your live. Aiden is the kid that some people were confusing with Dylan Rounds, right? That they were saying looks a lot like him. If I'm not wrong, right? But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. We're right at 38 minutes. I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's what I thought when I saw his name on your live. I was like, that's that other kid that she was talking about. You've been doing some really great work lately. I really enjoyed the interviews that you've been doing with parents. They do. I mean, if they look that familiar, that similar, like in a picture, they probably look, pretty similar in real life too, at least at a passing glance, if nothing else, to someone who doesn't really know them. Because I'm going to tell you, it can be really easy to get people mixed up. Here's an example from my own life. So I have a female cousin who I don't really see very often, but she's kind of distinctive looking, like the way she's built, the way just her style. She usually wears like big hair and stuff like that, right? So I was sitting outside of a store waiting for my ex to come out, and I saw this chick, and I'm just waving across the parking lot, and because she was looking at me, so I thought it was my cousin. I hadn't seen her in a while. And I'm just waving, and I'm sitting over here getting righteously angry because she's not acknowledging me. And I'm like, is she really not speaking to me? Like, what the heck? We were just cool. I just saw her like 2 months ago, and we were cool. We had a little chit chat, and come to find out it wasn't my cousin the whole time. There's another girl from my hometown that looks almost like she could be my cousin's sister. I mean, as close to identical twins as possible without being identical twins. Like, when you really look at them, you can see the difference. But I ended up seeing the girl's picture in the paper and seeing her name, and I was like, oh, that's why that chick wasn't waving at me. That wasn't even my cousin. And I felt so bad because I was heated with my cousin. I was like, I can't wait to see her. I'm going to get her a piece of my mind. I'm going to tell her about herself and how she was acting so snooty. And it wasn't even her. So yeah, I mean, it can be easy to mistake people. I mean, I mistook someone for my own blood relative at a distance. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm kind of tired, and I'm about to start doing a little research so that we can be ready for tomorrow. Come and join me at 3 p.m. We are going back to Bakersfield. We are going to take a look at some more of these missing persons. I kind of got really speechless because when we were looking at it the last time, you remember we saw that cluster of kids at these two buildings. One was a public works building, and one was some type of police headquarters or substation or something like that, and there's like a cluster of kids reported missing at those two buildings, which sit right across the street from each other. And I'm like, what the heck? And it really kind of threw me for a loop, and I kind of had to end the live because I really didn't know what to make of that. So tomorrow at 3, we're going to pick up on the list of 30 plus missing teens, first time missing teens out of Bakersfield, California. We're going to pick up where we left off and dig a little deeper and see what we can see. So I will see y'all tomorrow at 3. Good night, and I love you all.